on! Come on! Yeah! All right. Hello! How are we doing? Good, good. It's nice and warm in here. It's freezing outside. You been outside? Yeah, it's cool. I don't mind it though. It kind of reminds me of home. I live in Bulli. It's almost exactly the same temperature there right now, let me tell you. It's good, it's good. I brought my best material tonight, alpaca. And the alpaca that this jacket was made out of wasn't just any alpaca. The alpaca that this was made out of was a hardcore alpaca. So hardcore, he had tattoos of other alpacas on him. Can you see that? Tattoos of not just any alpacas, but tattoos of alpacas fucking other alpacas. Can you see that? This is freaking awesome. But do not wear this into an alpaca enclosure, let me tell you, because this is porno for alpacas. And I do not want to have sex with boy alpacas, let me tell you that right now. Right, I'm going to take it off now, because it's kind of, that's the end of that material. Oh, look at that, I've got a Crack House t-shirt. Huh? Yeah, it's good, it's good. So, yeah, like I said, I live in Bulli, and live there, wife and 3 kids. Don't know whose wife and 3 kids they are, but we do get along quite well. I'm joking, I'm pretty sure they are mine. The kids refer to me as Dada, and the wife refers to me as, for fuck's sake. And she also sometimes refers to me as, get off me. And sometimes she does the two. It's get off me for fuck's sake, which is a big no-no. But if it's for fuck's sake, get off me, I know I'm in. It's good. First of all, she used to say get off, and I'm like, I'm trying. She wasn't having any of it. She wasn't. I've got a 3-year-old son, Ned. He's good fun. I took him to the pub recently, and yeah, he fell asleep and pissed himself. Very advanced. I was 17 before I did that in the pub, so very proud of my Ned, very proud indeed. He's a good boy, he's a good fella. He's got some anger issues going on, a bit of anger. He asked Ned to do something he doesn't want to do, like go to bed, Ned. He won't just shout no, his whole body, from his toes to his hair, will say no. You go, Ned, it's time for bed. You go, thank you. He's so polite. And we're teaching him not to shout now, so as Nate goes to bed, it's like... And he's dropped the thank you. Which is appropriate, because there's no need for thank you for just growling, is there? There's not, it's good. I got this new son Fergus, he's 2 months old. He's a bit of a comedy legend already. From the day he was born, he came out of his mother. First thing he did, hands over the head, pissed all over. Genius. I was like, awesome. And there's the mother-in-law standing right there, so I pointed him at her next. He pissed all over her. Then I went for the nurse who'd been giving me the shits, but he was out of wee at that stage. I mean, he's got good power, man. He's got good power. Like sometimes when we give him nappy free time on his change table, he'll go for a wee, and the pressure is that strong, right, that the wee will shoot off this direction. But before this bit here at the front has hit anything, this bit here is finished. So sometimes you can walk into a room in our house and there's an arch of wee-wee unattached at either end. And you don't know where it's going. It's good. It's good fun. It's good fun. It's been great, great doing comedy here for the last 10 years. I remember when I first came to Wollongong, I was determined to start a comedy club. I'd run comedy clubs in Ireland. They were called the Crack House. So I called into a few clubs here, and the reception I got was a bit strange. Generally I got chased out of the place when I started telling them what I wanted to do. At Diggers, they were going to call the cops, but I had to do a runner. And when I called to the builder's house, I asked to speak to the manager, and Richard, the manager, came over, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he kind of just looked at me blankly with a smile on his face, and he put his arm around me, and he walked me over to the bar, and he said, "Is this what you're looking for, son?" "Yes, actually, I will have a beer." So I explained to him that I wanted to start a comedy club called the Crack House. And I think when I'd initially spoken to him, I'd just been going, "I used to run the Crack House in Ireland. I want to start a Crack House here at the comedy club here." So he thought I actually wanted to start a crack house. And he didn't seem too dissuaded, to be perfectly honest. He did seem a little bit disappointed when we established it was a comedy club. So he asked me to come along to a wine dinner that the board of directors were going to be at, and to do a bit of comedy there, and we'll see how it will go, and maybe start a comedy club after. So I just come from Ireland, where I'd done comedy, and I had about 20 minutes of comedy material from Ireland. So I sat down to work on that. So I removed all the Irish bits that wouldn't be relevant. So I was down to about 8 minutes. Then I removed all the drug references, because it was going to be to the board of directors. So I was down to about 2 minutes. And then I slowed it down to Australian speed, and I was back up to about 15 minutes. And then I met the board of directors and realised, hey, these guys are on way more drugs than me. So I put all the drug bit. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Stu. I forgot to say, hands together for Stu McPherson, ladies and gents. Stu and Shane, yeah, doing a great job here. It's tops, yeah. And James and everyone who's involved. Yeah, give them all a round of applause. Yeah, get it there. So yeah, the comedy club got started, and here we are now, 10 years later. So it's good. It's good fun. And there's lots of comedy in Wollongong these days. Like I went to Newcastle on Thursday night. It was my first time going out of Wollongong for a gig in a long time. And mainly, yeah, there's lots of open mic rooms around the gong, so I just get on my bike and cycle to the gigs, and it's freaking awesome. Because I don't like going to Sydney to do gigs. I like staying in Wollongong. But I was getting on my bike one day, and I noticed my chain, the bicycle chain, was completely dry, and I thought, I can't actually cycle this thing. Like, that chain is no good. I gotta get some oil. So I went and had a look around inside the garage, okay? Couldn't find any oil, and I was a bit disturbed, to be honest, because we don't actually have a garage, so... I don't know whose garage it was, but they had lots of nice stuff, and let me stress the word had. And now we have lots of nice stuff, but it's just sitting out the back garden getting wet, so we'll have some fairly shit stuff soon enough. But... So I had no oil for the chain, so I went into the house. I don't know if you know this. Anyone here a cyclist? A few cyclists? Do you know that you can use vegetable oil instead of motor oil on your chain? Do you know that? It does the same thing? Yeah, exactly, why not? So I went into the house to look for some vegetable oil. We'd no vegetable oil either. But I found a big bulk pack of soy sauce. So I chucked the soy sauce on top of the bicycle chain. And my policy with soy sauce, I don't just use it on its own. I generally like to use other sauce. So I chopped up a bit of garlic, a bit of coriander, a bit of ginger, fucked that on the chain, and away I went. Let me tell you, it was the hardest cycle I've ever had, but the smell was amazing. It was freaking awesome. It was so good. Thank you. So yeah, I moved here 10 years ago, and you guys remember the Oxford Tavern? Yeah. It was my first week in Australia, and I'd been sitting outside in the beer garden in the Oxford. You know the spot? And 10 policemen walked in. And I'd never seen anything like this before. 10 policemen walked in. Front guy had a dog on a lead. And my initial thought was, man, Australia, what a liberal country. I mean, they're obviously looking for something or someone, and they're leaving the blind cop go in first, man. That is so considerate. Good on you. So I went up to one of the cops, because that wasn't the situation. I went up to one of the cops and said, mate, what are you looking for? And he goes, oh, we're looking for drugs. And I was like, oh, thank fuck, I thought you were looking for explosives. He didn't actually find it that funny. He did find it funny as he kicked me up and down Crown Street, but that's his story, and he's not here, so fuck him. So I got a job here. First job I got was in Port Kembla, and I like adventure sports, so I used to get the train to Port Kembla. It's the cheapest extreme sport anywhere in the world. $2.60, man. You don't know if you're coming back alive or dead. And you got the most confused people in the world who live on the train to Port Kembla, man. Some very confused people. I'd just be on the train and there'd be these guys coming up to me all the time going, you fucking man, you fucking smart, you fucking. So I don't know if you notice, all the legs and arms, they all work, but they don't work together. So like, we're like fucking, sometimes it's left leg, right arm, you fucking stop doing fucking laps of me, you're making me do fuck off. Well, some fucked up people on that train, man. When I got on that train, usually, I doubled the number of teeth on the train. Including the driver. Including the driver. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know, the less teeth they had, the more scary they became. Which is unusual, because in the animal world, when an animal loses its teeth, it's generally less scary. Except on the train to Port Kembla. Less teeth, more scary. Unless you're an apple. Because you will never see an apple being harmed on the train to Port Kembla. Because apples are a bogan-resistant fruit. Those gums have no traction with that skin at all. I used to actually wear a necklace of apples as protection on the train. Give the fucking, You know that taking the train to Port Kembla 5 days a week reduces your chances of dying from a smoking-related illness by 30%? It does, on the other hand, increase your chances of being killed by someone looking for a smoke by about 50,000%. I actually saw a guy on the train to Port Kembla once almost get into a fight with his reflection. He's just standing in the doorway of the train looking at it, oh fucking, look, oh fucking, and then the train stopped and the doors, oh fuck, where's he gone? And then the doors closed again, oh you fucking man, fucking was, it was like this fucking, then there's 4 of them and oh fucking. Come on lads, this is the quiet carriage, oh fucking, it's a fucking smoking carriage, oh fuck, they're all smoking carriages on this fucking train, aren't they? I actually saw a guy, the cops were on the platform one day, and they were obviously going to be looking for tickets, and there was this one guy, like a typical fucking, you know, person who lives on that train, and it obviously occurs to him that you're supposed to buy a ticket for this thing, and you could see him, he was looking for money to go up to the ticket machine. Like, first of all, he was trying to buy his ticket out of the cigarette machine, because you could tell he'd never bought a ticket in his life before, and he pulls out a load of change at the ticket machine, he's putting it in, oh fucking, and trying to see if the cops are going to fuck off, and the train is just getting, oh fuck. I don't know if you noticed, you can only put in 10 coins to that thing before it spits them all out again. Did you know that? So he put in the 11 one, they all go, oh fuck. Classic stuff. It's good. From Ireland originally, obviously. Anyone here been to Ireland? Yeah? Pisshead? What's that? Yeah, fucking. Oh, fucking now what the fuck you saying? Anyone else been to Ireland? Yeah, pissheads. It's good fun. Do you know what our national greeting is in Ireland? I didn't hear any of that. Our national greeting in Ireland is Céad Míle Fáilte. You know what that means? It means 100,000 welcomes. Which sounds pretty welcoming, doesn't it? Yeah, except there's 4 million of us. So if you divide it out amongst the population, you're about 2.5% welcome to Ireland at any time, is one way of looking at it. I've got another way of looking at it. It's the 100,000 welcomes is an annual quota. So the first 100,000 people that come are welcome. And like we're excited, they're coming, and there's people at the airports waiting to greet the first 100,000, and then sometime in July, that 100,000 person gets off the plane, and it changes from welcome, get the fuck back in that plane and fuck off back to where you came from. Coming over here, taking our jobs, making love to our women properly. And to all the foreign women coming over here, making love to our foreign men and ruining it for our women. When you went to Ireland, did you go to Galway? What? Galway? Never heard of it? You probably went there then. That's the way Galway works. Because people think Galway is a nice city. It's actually the world's biggest pub. And you can drive your car around inside the pub and everything. It's great. What's that? Oh, that's what I said. Yeah, what did you hear? You what? I gotta slow down, don't I?
Oh, sorry, the Oyster Festival.
Oh, that's right, yes. Yeah, we drink Guinness and eat shellfish. It's mainly about the Guinness. The shellfish is just a ruse. It's a good ruse though, isn't it? Yeah, it makes you randy. Fuck yeah. Watch the alpacas, man. They fucking do it to you. Hardcore shit. I spent 3 months in Galway. I mean, it's a big drinking town. It's the biggest drinking town. I mean, look at me now. Oh, I'm 16. And I'm a girl. Galway is the only place I was ever able to have this conversation. I rang up my boss one day and said, hello, this is Martin. I can't come in. I'm too drunk. And the boss was great. He said, Martin, there's not much point. It's 4:30. And it's Saturday. And you actually finished working here about 2.5 weeks ago. And I'm sitting on your couch, so I don't know why you get your hand to your ear or something. How's it going? Go for a pint, it's Galway, why not? It's good. I was born in Ireland. I was born pretty blind. Like most of you guys learned how to walk. I learned how to walk into things. Some of my first words were actually on the day I was born. I kind of fell out and looked around and went, oh, for fuck's sake. But my first real words were a few months later was, Mammy, I need glasses. For fuck's sake. But I was actually talking to a shower curtain, because that's what happens when you're blind. And I was brought up in the Irish way, which means that you support Celtic in football, you don't like the English, and that's not on a personal level, by the way. That's on a royal sort of a level. I don't know, I went to the UOW Diversity Day a few weeks back, and I walked through all the stalls, and there were stalls from all over the country. Past the Swedish stall, they were all looking fantastic. Past the Dutch and the Jamaican stall, they'd set up a stall together and they were smoking the shit out of it. It was good. And I got to the end and I realised I didn't see the Irish stall anywhere. So I went back to the start to see if I could actually find the Irish stall. And what I found was that the British stall had actually decided to move away from the rest of the stalls. And there was an Irish guy, drunk, throwing stones at the British stall. And he was the Irish stall. And it was a pretty good representation, I thought. You're brought up religious in Ireland, you're brought up as a Catholic, and all that crap. And, it kind of pissed me off a bit. Like, the last Pope, he was talking about about bringing up history, about the Muslims spreading Islam by the sword. And, the last Pope was actually a Nazi, so he really shouldn't be bringing up history. That's what I thought. And it pissed me off that much, I changed religion. I stopped being a Roman Catholic agnostic, and I became a Protestant agnostic. It's still the same God I don't believe in. I just don't worship him in a slightly different way now. Thank you. Drink's a big part of the culture here, a big part of the culture in Ireland, just to prove it. They say the Eskimos have 100 different words for snow. How many different words do we have for being drunk? Fire them up. Words for drunk. Maggot. Smashed. Hammered. Pissed. Off chops is 2 words. Unless you're really off your chops. Off chops. Legless. Shit-faced. Huh? Flogged. I like it. Fucked. Yeah. Munted. That's a good one. You were so big that you could put me in a bread roll and eat me. And you wouldn't even be satisfied at all, would you? No. Keep the bread rolls away from this part of the audience, okay? I counted them one day. We've got 147 different words for being drunk. You think that could be because we have to deal with being drunk just a little bit more than the Eskimos have to deal with snow? And help me out again here. How many different words do we have to describe being sober? 1. Same. No, you can be drunk and boring. Please don't. It's a bad one. 1. I imagine the Eskimos probably only have 1 word for a heat wave as well. Don't have to worry about it all that much. It's all good. I was going to take a drink out of my microphone stand. That would have been fucking stupid. But one phenomenon that we have in Ireland that I kind of miss, it's the spontaneous piss-up that you get around Christmas time. So for me, I'm from a small town, okay? Everyone comes home for Christmas. You know, we're all sitting around at home, sitting around the house. It's about 12 o'clock in the day. Mother sends you downtown to buy a carrot. So you go off downtown to buy a carrot. And you bump into someone that you haven't seen in like 20 minutes. Like your brother. Got sent down for some Brussels sprouts just before you. One thing leads to another. You arrive home 2 days later. With no carrot. Just a parsnip and a tin of orange paint. Will that do, man? Brussels sprouts? What's that? No, it's okay, you can say it. Where were they? They were still in the shop. We got sidetracked before we got to the shop. That was the problem. Actually, when I went into the pub, my mate Danny was there. He had a ham from the previous Christmas. What a fucking bender. This guy was great. This guy Danny, he was tops. I used to work in Germany with this guy Danny, right? And I was wearing hot pants because I didn't know hot pants were just for girls. My sister gave me hot pants going to Germany, and it was pretty hot, and I was wearing my hot pants, nothing else. And Danny looks down the hill from where he was working, and he goes to me, he goes, Henchbar, you're like an animal trapped in a gorilla's body. Which was quite funny. The funniest thing about that is that Danny went to Dubai shortly afterwards, teaching English. So if you ever go to Dubai and someone meets you at passport control going, can I look at your passport there, like? That would be one of Danny's students, one of the better ones. I think the alpacas have arrived. Can someone get rid of that jacket before things get too hot? Who did that laugh? Well done, that's great. Great stuff. So, who over here has been to Ireland? For a few people over here? Yeah. Did you know that we have a serious drug problem in Ireland? Yeah, they're all shit. It's a real problem. I mean, the marijuana product that we get in Ireland is hash. Now, I don't know if you know what hash is, but what hash is, it's what's left of the marijuana when the Dutch have taken all the good shit out. It's that crap that when you smoke a joint of hash in Ireland, it improves your short-term memory. That's where I left my keys. Beauty. You take acid in Ireland, you start seeing things, but they're actually there. So LSD improves your eyesight. You know that expression, red sky at night, shepherd's delight, red sky in the morning? Good acid. Good acid. And like paracetamol is more dangerous than ecstasy in Ireland. Like the ecstasy is that bad. If you take 8 paracetamol, there's a chance you'll die. If you take 8 Irish ecstasy, there's a chance you might need a hug and a drink of water. I mean, we used to have to eat so much ecstasy. We used to get sandwiches of ecstasy and take them into the club, and we'd be chomping away. And you know, you take too much of it, like you start getting chest pains. That's indigestion. You've just eaten too much shit. This is way too much. Well, when I came here, there are some of your expressions I loved. It's, what's that? Beer before wine is fine. Wine before beer makes you queer. You know that one? Yep. And beer before, or grass before beer in the clear. Beer before grass on your ass. You know that one? Yep. I've got one. It's beer before wine, before grass, couple of pingers, bit of coke, bottle of whiskey. Fucking good times. Thank you. You can all clap if you want. That's fine. I'm taking. I get to drink my beer while you're clapping, so clap it up, clappies. Well, I did a bit of travelling on my way to Australia. First place I stopped off was in Germany, and when I was in Germany, I heard my favourite joke of all time. All right, and my policy with favourite jokes of all time is I tell every single person that I meet that favourite joke of all time. So I'm telling everyone this joke, I'm telling everyone. And I was at this train station, 9 o'clock Sunday morning. I'd been out drinking all night. I met this 90-year-old German woman, and I was trying to tell her the joke. But she didn't speak English, and I didn't speak English after being out all night. Well, the joke is, what did the horse say when it jumped out of the freezer? And the punchline is, which is quite a funny joke. It's a good one. You can take it away. So I'm trying to tell this woman this joke, and she's getting none of it. And eventually someone comes along and they translate the joke from gibberish into German for her benefit. So in German the joke goes, was sagst das Horse, wenn es hast aus the refrigerator gehen? And this German woman turns to me and said, ich weiß nicht, I don't know. And I turned to her, and she didn't laugh. She just looked at me and went, nein. In Munich, the horses say Winnie. At which point I got my joke into my backpack, got the fuck out of that country as quick as I possibly could. I went to Thailand next, and I just so happened to be sitting in the cocoa bar underneath a coconut tree, drinking a coconut drink out of a coconut. You know what happened next? No, not quite on my head, because then I'd be dead. Bad posture saved my life. I was leaning over like this, and it bounced off me right here. And it's a big impact. Have you ever seen a coconut fall? It's hardcore, man. Do you know how dangerous they are? Do you know that more people die from falling coconuts than sharks? Yeah. You want to be a pretty unlucky shark, though, to get hit by a coconut. That would just be bad timing. Bad timing. So I went off to China next. I don't know if you guys have been to China. I don't want to ruin the surprise completely, but it is just a bigger version of Chinatown, to be perfectly honest. And I went to the Great Wall of China. Little known fact about the Great Wall of China: you can actually see the moon from the Great Wall of China. I told that joke once in Port Kembla, and it was the only time all night there was complete silence in the whole room. Broken at the end by one guy at the back going, "You can fucking see the moon from here, which made me think we should build a wall around Port Kembla. Vote Trump. Yeah, he's in for building walls. Oh yeah, he loves that shit, he loves it. But went to New Zealand after that, and a little joke I play on long international flights, okay? What I do is, say we arrive in Sydney Airport, I'll walk down onto the runway, stand beside the air hostess, look around and go, New York. And I'll just walk away this way. Just as a little light joke, you know, it's just something I do. If you're going to do it, don't look back, because then she'll know you're taking a piss, alright? So if you're flying with someone else, do it every second flight. You do the joke, they get the laugh. That's the way it goes. So I'm flying into New Zealand, right? It's an 18-hour flight. For 18 hours, I've been looking forward to this moment. Alright? I'm getting off the plane. I'm walking down the steps onto the runway. And I'm the first person getting off the plane. And there's no air hostess. And I've been looking forward to this moment for 18 fucking hours, and I'm going, what the fuck am I going to do instead here? So what I did, right? The terminal building was over here, and the plane was behind me here. Instead of walking that way, I walked this way. And I walked around the back of the plane, and being the first person off, everyone just followed me. So we all walked around the back of the plane, came back around the front of the plane. Still no air hostess. The line was still coming off there, so I said, I'll join that line. So I joined that line. Oh, geez, we were doing laps of this plane for a good half an hour, man. At which point I started getting tired, so I went back onto the plane, and everyone followed me back onto the plane. And we fucked off home, and it was the worst holiday anyone's ever had in New Zealand. It was amazing. But when I first moved here to Wollongong, I used to actually live on this block, on the corner of this block on Smith and Kembla. And you remember back in the day, the Glass House and the North Gong were basically the two places you could go. And so we were on that walkway between those two places. So we didn't need a TV, because we had a balcony. And we just sat in the balcony. Fox balcony, I called it. And you just You just sit down there every night. I mean, you don't get to choose what's going to be on. It's generally either drag racing, ultimate fighting, or porno. But there are some drawbacks living in a place like that. Someone had stuck half a kebab in our letterbox, which inspired us to put up a sign, "No junk food, please." We woke up another morning, someone had done a poo on the bonnet of our car. And not on the part of the bonnet near the road, it was on the part of the bonnet near the windscreen. Which meant that they had to have been standing on the car for the poo to end up there. I've never had a poo come on that fast, I didn't have time to get off the bonnet of a Mitsubishi Colt. But we do have an idea where the pooper trailer came from. We found an apple right beside the car with no marks on it at all. Have a good one. He's the perpetrator. Living in Wollongong, when I first lived here, I remember I was heading down to the beach, down to North Wollongong, and on my way to the beach I passed this bit of graffiti, and it said, "Aussie pride, Lebanese go home." And I thought, man, I should do my bit for race relations here, so I did. I crossed out the letter R in pride, so that now said, "Aussie pide." And amazingly, one quick stroke, Lebanese go home became Lebanese goes lummy. It's amazing. I felt I was on a roll, so I put up some prices for the pide, $1.50 and $2 for the guzlame, and an arrow to the Lebanese.